Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League TV. Follow me on Instagram at official Sherilyn for more content.
Hey, it's Rain Fernandez, and you're watching Sweep the League. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook at Rain Fernandez, R-A-Y-N-E, Fernandez.
Sweep the League TV, where legends collide. If the Sweep the League TV, where legends collide. If the Cowboys fall short, we'll still ride the tide. Like Jordan in the clutch, or Brady's last play. We bring the fire, keeping fans in the fray. Coach Gio and Rudy calling the shots. With Derek Curvin, straight Hall of Fame thoughts. So hit that subscribe, don't sit on the bench. Get in the game, every highlight's intense. The live stream's on, tell your friends don't delay. Like Kobe in the fourth, we're here to play. Sweep the League TV, where greatness resides. From the blogs at the drive, till my heart's on the rise. We're all in on sports, NBA, CFB, and more for fans. By fans, it's the show you'll adore. Exclusive interviews with Rudy and the crew. Let's go.
What up, everybody? We're doing a Sweep Unplugged. No, don't worry. This is not Sweep the League TV. That still comes to you tonight at 9 o'clock, where we're going to cover our friends over at Pro Football Talk releasing their power rankings, any other sports stuff. Hey, the Spurs are winning. That's kind of a shocker to most of us here. But don't worry. That sports talk's coming here a little bit later in the evening. Right now, it's our first Sweep Unplugged live edition. Who better to start it off with, where we unplug from the sports world pretty much and plug ourselves into everything else. Tonight, it's the world of music. Jeff Garcia and myself from Locked On Spurs, we had a debate on the most recent Locked On Spurs that I was on, the Mount Rushmore of rock and roll. We're going to get into that tonight. Jeff's birthday's today. He was going to join us, but he's out celebrating his birthday. He's a whole 22 years old. Wish him a happy birthday. We're going to get into rock. We're going to local bands, and there's nobody better to do this with than the man, the myth, the legend himself. You know him on Twitter, the Chuck Vance Show. It is Mr. Chuck Vance. It's a long time coming for you and I to be doing this, man.
It is, man. It is. And it's great to be here on your show and to be here talking things local music and talking things rock and roll. And we're going to have a good time tonight.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Now, I mean, of course, people like me, we remember you, radio days and all that good stuff. But for those that may not, you'll give them a quick bio on you, man.
Oh, man. Well, I started in the radio, TV, film program back at SAC, probably in the mid to late 90s. Then I graduated from there, got an internship at 99.5 KISS, started in the promotions department. Then I moved to engineering live shows. Then I decided to dabble and get into the on-air world. And, 17 years later, I'm still doing it. I left 2008, I think, is when I left KISS, and been doing my own show for the last 6 years. So right about 20 plus years.
There you go, man. Here. And that's why I said the perfect person to get this. And Jeff was in agreement. He's like, yeah, get Chuck. So, all right, we'll get Chuck. We just so happened to do it on a night that Jeff decided to go celebrate his birthday. So shout out to Jeff, man. Drink a cola for us.
Jeff. Go celebrate your birthday.
Yeah, I mean, who celebrates on a Wednesday, man? Come on. You saved that shit for the weekend. That's
He's probably hitting up Sugars, probably, I guess. Because they have the $2.99 steak and fries.
Man, growing up San Antonio, you're bringing up Sugars. Because 995 KISS, I mean, let's not beat around the bush. Y'all were at a lot of local strip joints. I mean, it was like every weekend pretty much you saw KISS van, with the big old, remember the big old pig? We didn't have the big old pig, the prize pig patrol.
I drove that, and a promotions person killed it by putting unleaded gas when it was a diesel.
Oh.
So that's why it went away.
Well, there you go. You got the backstory on that. Why the prize pig patrol is no more, man. That's a crappy thing right
And
there.
it used to have the ears until one of them fell off on Loop 410 and almost caused a major accident. So they had to take the ears off of it.
This is stuff that you don't get anywhere else, man. Nobody else gets this kind of info for 995 kids. But speaking of, you mentioned sugars, man. What were the top ones, back then? Because for me, it's weird. When you turn 18 in San Antonio,
Mm-hmm.
you get christened. You go to Paradise, which is over there by Splashtown. That was 18 and over right there. You were like, all right, I'm going now. Obviously, you can't drink, but it was BYOB. That's where you got christened. When you hit
the all nude one.
Yeah, the all nude one was the one everyone got when you turned 18. You got christened. But after that, when you hit that 21, what was the best one? Everybody says it was San Antonio Men's Club, but I don't think it was San Antonio Men's Club. It was probably the Palace, or was it Perfect Tens? Or
Perfect 10 was up there. Palace was up there. But I will tell you this: we were going to do a live broadcast at Sugars, and so we had to go on like a Tuesday during the day to test their like fax machine where we plug in our equipment, make sure everything's good. And we went at about 1:30. And I will tell you, they had the most hottest women I have ever seen in my life. And the reputation that Sugars gets. Yeah. Paw print tattoos and C-section scars. That's what. But they had some of the hottest women, and I was telling the manager, I was like, dude, whenever we're here on like a Wednesday or Thursday night, I never see these women. And he's like, well, a lot of the doctors and lawyers and people in the medical center, they go to lunch there during the day. And so that's what they cater to, is all the businessmen from the medical center area and all the doctors. And so that's why you would see all these like smoking hot like 10s all around.
Man, but you would think All Stars was right down the street from there too. I mean, you would probably think that All Stars would get a majority of them there.
I think because All Stars probably didn't have a parking lot that was behind the building where people could recognize cars from the access road. Yeah. That's probably why.
I would have, what, that is 100% true right there. That's fact, because parking lot for All Stars is just wide open. You couldn't really find any hidden parking spot where Sugars. No, the Academy's not behind there. It was a doctor's building, I think, behind there.
I think it was a doctor's building. Yeah, Academy was all that with like to the right and all that.
Yeah. Well, even hell, you could even park at Academy. It didn't matter. But nobody could ever tell you were going to Sugars. Wasn't it Sharky's before?
It was Sharky's, and I believe way back, it was a restaurant called Steak and Ale, I believe.
Yeah, it was Steak and Ale.
I believe. And I remember Sharky's. God, I went there for something. I think they were having like a rave party or something where it was like some DJ from Europe. And it was like the weirdest place because they didn't even change it to look like a bar or whatever. It literally looked like the Steak and Ale, but they just put like dance lights. So like people are dancing around tables and chairs and stuff. It was absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
We're getting into some San Antonio nostalgia here. You brought up Steak and Ale, man. I mean, down the street from there, there was a Bonanza. People don't remember Bonanza. I remember Bonanza, man. That was chicken fried steak at Bonanza. I think that's what slapped over there. I mean,
Bonanza was great.
Whatever happened to that place? I mean, that's crazy, dude.
I think Bonanza, went the way of all like another San Antonio staple, Po Folks. Just the city outgrew them. Yeah. It was like Bonanza. So. Bonanza was, the fancy dinner on a Saturday night that the family went to, and then that morphed into what, Olive Garden now, and then now it's the Brazilian steakhouses of the world and the higher end places.
That is true, man. I remember what fancy dinners back then was all of us getting in the car and going down to Luby's. Luby's was like the place where, you had the waitress or the waiter were driving around the cart. Would you like more tea? Would you like this? Yep. Would you like that? I mean, good God, man, we've actually grown up around here. Now Luby's is like one open, I think, on Fredericksburg. I think that's the only one open, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that the only one that's still open?
I think so, because the Walsum one was an all-you-can-eat. That was my inner fat guy was coming out when I found out Walsum was the all-you-can-eat one. They closed that one down. Downtown over there by that Lulu's Bakery, that one closed. Yeah, man, I think Fredericksburg is the only one that has the last Luby's. I don't know of any other ones out there.
What about the one I know that I remember there was one by Las Palmas down there, down that
You know
way.
what? I
don't know if that one. I haven't been down there in forever either, so I don't know if that one's still around.
I lost my bulletproof vest. I haven't been down to Las Palmas in forever, man. Even though I grew up down the street from there.
just wear all white.
Well, yeah, that would be fun. That's paints a big target on me either way, man. If I go
either that or they're thinking you're going to a Diddy party.
Oh God, there's not enough oil to go to a Diddy party on that side of town, man. We're talking to Chuck Vans, local legend, man, San Antonio legend. We're gonna talk some rock bands a little bit, local bands as well, going over some San Antonio nostalgia. This is Sweep Unplugged. Regular Sweep the League TV is going to be brought to you here at 9 o'clock. Everything is brought to you by MCS General Contracting. Before we get into the Mount Rushmore and talking rock, because to be honest, man, you cannot pick 4 bands to put on a Mount Rushmore. It is insanely crazy. Last night we brought it up and we had bands left and right. Nobody had the same list. It's just impossible. Before we get into that headache right there, local bands, man. I love the local scene when it comes to San Antonio rock and roll. Lately, I was at, not recently, but the last time I went was at VANS. I went to a show there. I love it, man.
Closing at the end of the year.
They are going to close it?
They're closing it at the end of the year. So they're doing all their final shows this month and next month. So go see a show there. Go see a show there.
I'm going to have to head back out there. So I have a buddy who was on a local band, and I know they're not together anymore. Actually, he's not with them, but it was called Above My Enemy. And I watched a couple of their shows, but give a shout out to some bands, man. Let me know your top bands out there. People should go watch, because they're crazy for missing out on the local scene.
Well, right off the bat, the shirt that I'm wearing, Powdered Wig Machine, they are a great band. And my show that's coming up Sunday, I interview the front woman, Patricia from Powdered Wig Machine, and they're playing actually Friday at Yandros down there on the St. Mary's Strip for my alma mater, KSYM's Alt to Hunger benefit that I think this is like the 20th one or something they've done, benefits like a food bank or some charity. I didn't read into it that much, but Powdered Wig Machine is great. There's another really rad band there called Sex Mex. Oh, wow. They just came back off of like a national tour. They were touring around the country, but hopefully they're going to be doing shows again here very, very soon. If you want to get heavier, I love Cauterized, Thunder Horse, if you like that kind of low doom metal. If you want to get into hip hop, my buddy Baby Astro, he's my age. I turned 48 earlier. Not saying that Baby Astro's 48, but he's around the same age group as me. So his stuff is very like a throwback to like 90s hip hop, which is really good. Oh God. The Wizard, they're kind of an experimental band where a lot of their songs are like 8, 9, 10 minutes long, but very, very cool. Jeez, you put me on the spot thinking about like having to name favorite bands. Country, we can go country. Garrett T. Capps and NASA Country. Garrett T. Capps, he owns Lonesome Rose on the St. Mary's Strip. He's got some very cool rad music, and also Fancy and the Fortunate Sons. Honey Bunny's another great indie band. Anoha, they're blowing up on Instagram, TikTok, all that. There's just an overabundance of so many great bands here in this town that are playing shows probably Wednesday through Sunday. You'll get a one-off Monday or Tuesday, but there's plenty of San Antonio local music Wednesday through Sunday here in town and around town.
Nah, man, the one place I used to go, now again, you have to forgive me because I haven't been down there in forever. God, since I moved, but also before that, got married, started a family. So being on that kind of scene just kind of killed me, but it's probably not there. You can slap me across the face when you see me. The White Rabbit.
It is called Paper Tiger. Paper
The
Tiger.
Paper Tiger. Okay. But that was kind of the scene back when I was growing up in high school. Everybody wanted to go to the White Rabbit. They saw a lot of local bands there. It says the Paper Tiger now. Is it still pretty much the same idea, same concept where, I mean, that's just one of the places to be to get local entertainment?
It is. It is. They have obviously their main room, and then they have like a smaller side stage room. So I've been where there's been a national band that I went to go see, and they have it closed off. So you're go in there and see the openers for the national band, but they have a second room where when one band finishes, you've got these local bands playing in the side room, and you can go check them out. And they have a bar outside, bar inside.
Oh, wow.
They're actually the ones that hosted the surprise Jack White show or whatever last Friday.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy cow, man. I didn't even know. I know the area is like still popping when it comes to music, but I need to get back into the local scene. That's for damn sure. I mean, man, you're talking about high school. There was what, Reverend Horton Heat. I remember seeing Reverend Horton Heat. Hell, even when I graduated, don't ask me how, but I ended up at a Legs Diamond concert one time. And is that
it's San Antonio, so yes, it's San Antonio, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah, it was kind of like back in the day. I was like, oh, we're going to a concert. Which one? I have no idea. We're just going. And that's kind of the cool thing about San Antonio, talking to Chuck Vans, getting some local bands in the area here, giving them shout outs to them. Again, if you got any bands out there, let us know, man. We'll promote the hell out of you guys here on Sweep the League, just like Chuck does for all the bands local wise. Also, you do something else locally, and I found it pretty cool. I'm going to have to actually hit it up here. You got into rock and roll, and then you have the rock / into wrestling. I see you dabbling in the wrestling stuff going on. Now, you're doing it, if I'm not mistaken, with now Supermax, I think is his name, right? Is that what he goes by?
Sean Supermax Hernandez.
Yeah, so people remember him from I think he was in WCW, if I'm not mistaken.
He was in WCW with LAX, and then they transitioned over to TNA wrestling. Yep.
That's what it was. Okay. Yep. So yeah, you definitely had him WCW years. A lot of good local talent there. Give him a shout out, man. What can people expect from Sean Hernandez's promotion?
Their promotion is called San Antonio Style Wrestling, and our next show is actually tomorrow at 10929 Nacogdoches Road, number 7. Which is literally, it's a shopping center right down from Wurzbach Parkway and Nacogdoches Road on the northeast side. If you know old school, like if you know where the Silver Bullet Saloon is, it's right in that same shopping center, down towards the end. And it's San Antonio style wrestling, but it's also San Antonio style wrestling school. So there's kids that are like 14, 16, 17 that are in there doing it. And man, I got to tell you, some of these kids, like, they are killing it out there. I'm out there announcing. I'm not getting in the ring. I'm too damn old for that. Like, Hernandez is probably like my age or probably even younger, and he's still doing it. But me, no. I don't have good enough insurance to do that. So I just go out there and lend my voice and talents to them. But those guys, they are killing it out there. They are just doing big things, and it's the next big promotion here in San Antonio as far as pro wrestling goes.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I didn't know it was tomorrow, but now that I know, I'm not going to be able to make that, but I will go to the next one. I like wrestling, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to throw shade or shit at anybody, but there's just certain promotions I don't like in town, and that's why I don't attend them. But I do like wrestling overall. I mean, I'm not a huge WWE guy like I used to be. I don't really watch the AEW too much, but the local scene, I know that's where, I mean, you see the talent of tomorrow right there, and that's the best part of it. So I do need to hit one up. So I'm going to definitely contact you so I can get, information on tickets. And then what we'll probably end up doing is not for tomorrow, but the next promotion, probably give away some tickets. I'll get in contact with them. We'll get some tickets bought and give them away to some lucky fans. So that way we can help them out of the Sean Hernandez's promotion. We're talking to Chuck Vans. And I know it's kind of like middle of the show here. It's probably going to take us forever, but the Mount Rushmore, man. This was one of the biggest reasons we had to make you the first guest on Sweep Unplugged Live. Again, we are live on Sweep Unplugged. Normally it's recorded, as everybody knows. And I said, you know what? We got to do a live show. Who are we doing a live show with? We're going to do it with Chuck. I got to get Chuck for the live show. Mount Rushmore, brother. We're talking. I mean, I'm going to read. You know what? Before I even say, I'm going to read you Jeff's list because he texted me.
Okay.
Says I can't make it today, but this is my list in no order. So his Mount Rushmore is Iron Maiden, Metallica,
Okay.
AC/DC, and Black Sabbath. That's his top four. That's his Mount Rushmore there. So I told him, you know what? I can't argue with Metallica. I mean, come on. You cannot argue with Metallica. Iron Maiden, again, this is his top four, his Mount Rushmore. I told him, what about bands like, for me, it's bands that just, I guess, rewrite rock and roll and make it, a step further. And kind of what I look at is like Nirvana. I mean, they brought that whole grunge scene into rock, and it just catapulted everything. So I told him, well, Jeff, I mean, Mount Rushmore, you got to kind of throw Nirvana in there. They turned over everything. It's like, okay, maybe. But then you go further back. I mean, you're talking about Led Zeppelin. You're talking about the Rolling Stones. I mean, it's impossible to pick four, Chuck. Can you do it?
I picked four when I saw that this was one of the topics. And I wrote my four out probably 3 hours ago.
Okay.
And you've already named three of the four on mine.
Okay.
You've already named three of the four. So I'm kind of, let's see, kind of eras. So my first one would be Black Sabbath.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that basically brought in the era of heavy metal music and metal music. Ozzy, how can you go wrong with that? No. And then this one's probably going to piss people off, which is funny. I picked the Sex Pistols because the Sex Pistols brought the Sex Pistols. They call it punk rock or whatever, but they brought a different sound and a different energy to music that wasn't being done.
Yeah.
Sid Vicious, Johnny Rotten, all of those guys, and God Save the Queen, Anarchy in the UK. They brought another emotion and a sound that you hadn't heard before. Then, of course, I picked Metallica.
Yeah. Because
you could throw any of the big four, Slayer, Anthrax, Megadeth, Metallica. They were in that whole initial thrash metal, heavy metal, from the early 80s. But Metallica perfected it. Slayer still sell out concerts. Megadeth sells out concerts. Anthrax sells out concerts. But Metallica perfected, people call them sellouts, but they perfected it. They perfected what they did. And then, like you said, my fourth one would be Nirvana. Yeah. Because in a world where rock and roll was Poison, Warrant, and hair metal, they came in with their dirty jeans, Chuck Taylors, and flannel and just turned the fucking music world on its side, and gave people something different that nobody had ever heard before. Yeah,
that to me, Nirvana's got to be on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
It's just, for me growing up, it was in my middle school years and high school years. Smells Like Teen Spirit hit the airwaves, and you're like, what in the fuck is this?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, what is
Holy
this?
Cow, this is good. Then every song after that was just, think about it. The first real mega, not even acoustic, but the Unplugged, MTV Unplugged was Nirvana doing it. And it just launched another thing. So that's why I would probably put Nirvana, I don't know if I would put them at the front of Mount Rushmore. It'd be kind of close because everything they seem to have done when they entered the scene, even as a local band from Seattle, it just took off and it just catapulted another thing. Smells Like Teen Spirit. It had the grunge rock come out. Like you said, dirty jeans, everything like that. Hey, guess what, Kurt? Let's do a unplugged version. Okay. Then you had all these other bands doing unplugged version on MTV's after Nirvana. It just seemed like
Jam,
they couldn't.
Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah.
All those the grunge bands. Then they started tapping into them because they saw the popularity of Nirvana.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, and Leha's in here for MCS General Contracting. Shout out to Chris Leha, man. Late to the show. What's good? Nothing much, man. Talking to Chuck Vans, the legend, here on Sweep Unplugged Live. Don't worry, Leha. We got you covered. We still got Sweep the League Sports later on here at 9 o'clock. So I appreciate you joining, man. But you brought everything up because it's like, well, I had guys yesterday. Well, where do you put U2? Where do you put Pearl Jam? I mean, again, Pearl Jam, obviously Pearl Jam is a big sell. No doubt about it. Like you said, Slayer's going to sell tickets. Pearl Jam's going to sell tickets. But when you're talking ultimate band, as many hits as they had, they didn't revolutionize music like a lot of these other guys did. And I think that's where it separates everybody from me.
And you could even go a little bit deeper in a way of, say, a band like one of my favorites, Faith No More.
Yeah.
They inspired basically the new metal scene, Mudvayne, Korn,
Yeah, that's right.
Those bands. And do you put them on Mount Rushmore? No, because I think they inspired a whole nother genre of music. But when you look at the Mount Rushmore, who inspired Faith No More? I think you throw a mix of these bands in there, Black Sabbath, Sex Pistols, Metallica, and you get that.
Yeah, and I mean, hell, I'm gonna just flat out say this. I hope you don't get mad at me, but Jeff didn't get mad. He actually agreed. I've always considered Kiss one of the most overrated bands.
Oh, I'm totally in agreement with you. They have some good songs, but they're not.
It was more the makeup, I think, what it was, the aesthetics.
Yeah, and who did it? Who did it before them? Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper.
Shock Rock.
Yeah, exactly, man. There's just so many. I mean, you got to think, can you just do a Mount Rushmore of all time? Yeah, you can. Everyone's Mount Rushmore is going to be different. There's no doubt about that. Everyone's going to have different ones. It's not like the NBA where for a fact you're going to have MJ, you're going to have so-and-so, probably Kareem on there, stuff like that. But in
everybody
music,
but
especially
LeBron.
rock and roll.
Everybody but LeBron. Everybody but LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron doesn't even make, what is he? He's probably not even top 8 on my list. I mean, if I'm going with Jordan, Kareem, Duncan's going to be up there before him, Magic, Bird.
Kobe.
I would probably put
Wilt.
Kobe before, Wilt, Russell. I mean, there's a lot of guys I would put Royal before LeBron, but nonetheless, I don't want these bronze sexuals to get mad at me, so we'll keep that We'll keep LeBron's name out our mouth for a little bit here.
Here's a hot take for me. You know who I'd put over LeBron?
Who's that?
Earl the Pearl Monroe.
That's a hot take, but I won't even argue with that, man. I'll put Earl Manigault before I put LeBron James.
There we go.
The GOAT. I mean, it literally has the GOAT in his name, so that's Earl Manigault there. Yep. Talking to Chuck Vans, man, we're getting our top 4 here, our Mount Rushmore. And then one question too, is it also fair, because it was asked of us yesterday, is it fair to say, okay, there's so many bands, do you do a Mount Rushmore of different eras? And I'm like, man, you know what? You can't do that, because Mount Rushmore is nothing but 4 presidents. That's over a long period.
Yeah.
So technically can't, man. Like
you can't, but I'm sure people would want to, because they don't want their favorite band being left out.
Jeff also brought up Tool. Would you put Tool pretty close to being on there? No? I told him no. I didn't think so.
No.
What was Tool? Like Tool, how would you consider Tool's music? That's kind of always been a hard one for me. That's very different. It's like dark rock, but not.
You can't really put them in a genre. I think, like, their music's okay. Their music's, I'm sure people are gonna bash me for saying their music's just okay, but I've seen them live 3 times, and I went to see them 3 times to see the opening band. But their music's okay, but yeah, I don't know how you could pigeonhole them in any like specific genre per se, because their music is just it's just Tool. That's all you can really say. It's just Tool.
I'm gonna throw something out here, and I don't know. You and I have kind of agreed all night. I don't know if we're gonna agree on this, but I personally have Rammstein over Tool. That's just me. I prefer their music over Tool.
I would too. I would take that. I would take that because Rammstein kind of did something. They kind of did something different.
Yeah.
When was the last time you heard somebody singing heavy metal in German before David Hasselhoff? Like nobody.
Yeah. before the Hoff really fucked everything up, man, for everybody.
Yeah.
I would say that, there's a lot of other bands out there. My older people, I'm in 45, man. So I'm old already. But other people say, oh, you forgot about the Doors and you forgot about Leonard Skinner. And I'm like, man, that's your era. I totally get that. That's what you want. That's what you want. One guy was making a whole case for the Grateful Dead. I'm like, okay, but I don't know. Did they, to me, if I'm going revolutionary, I mean, the Stones, the Beatles, I think those two are probably bands that just brought something to music during that time period. So I would put them way over the other guys that they were mentioning, but that's where I put Mount Rushmore. You got to be able to wow me and just change the whole music scene.
And the thing, like you said, you mentioned the Doors and the Grateful Dead. How many other bands were out there in the late 60s, early 70s that were doing that psychedelic rock? How many people were there? A bunch.
Yeah.
And
Clash. Was it Clash one of them that did it?
No, Clash was late 70s punk rock.
Late 70s. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a lot of bands doing that same kind of sound, that whole trippy, weird visual with just take LSD and listen to the music, man. What is it? Timothy Leary says, tune in, tune out, drop out, or whatever it is. That phrase that he does. Yeah, like turn on, tune in, drop out. That's what it is.
Yeah, honestly, man, we gotta rank Dewey Cox somewhere in there, man. That's for sure. Dewey Cox has got to be ranked somewhere on that Mount Rushmore. Elias is in here. He says, Chuck Vans, what's up, man?
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Now, Sith dropped the top 4 yesterday. Sith, if you want to drop your top 4, I want to say, I don't remember if he had it. Someone had Deftones in their top 4 on the Mount Rushmore.
Really?
Yeah. My wife, major Deftones fan. She'll put Deftones above everybody. So if I want to stay married and I want to sleep in my own bed, I got to say, yes, honey, I agree with your list. But because she's not on the podcast, I can say I don't agree with her list. It's definitely not Deftones. So yeah, here's his list right here. AC/DC, Aerosmith, Slipknot, and Deftones is his Mount Rushmore. We got to put a grade on it, Chuck. We got to put a grade on it.
C minus.
C minus, Sith. Oh my God, he's telling you got to go back to go listen to music, man. You get your year's worth.
No offense. It's your opinion. I value it. It's okay.
I mean, would any 4 of those, AC/DC maybe, would get a nod? Aerosmith had a bunch of hits, obviously.
Yeah.
But
like I said, with the list that I did, these were groundbreaking. Like nobody had ever heard that kind of music before.
Yeah.
And then obviously the longevity of, obviously the Sex Pistols were only around for like 3 years, but they started the whole, depends on who you ask, the punk music thing, Yeah. If you're over in Europe and England, it was the Sex Pistols. If you're over in America, it was the Ramones that started it,
I forgot about the Ramones.
And it's one of those that I'm not gonna knock any of those 4 bands. Slipknot's great, Deftones are great, depending on which Chino you're getting. Is it skinny Chino or is it fat Chino? Whichever era you're getting him in again, because he goes back and forth. I think he's skinny. I think he's skinny Chino this go around.
Well, the part that messed Deftones up for me was when they tried to do Passenger live, and Chino ended up singing, what's his name's verse? God, I can't remember his name. Slipped my mind. Maynard. He had tried doing Maynard's verse, and it sounded like if a cat was dying. And I said, I cannot deal with this right now. So I kind of lost respect for them when it came to that song, Passenger. I just listen to it on the radio now or on, wherever. But Sith is in here. I grew up on the post-hardcore scene, Asking Alexandria, The Devil Wears Prada, etc. Okay.
Oh, but then where do we put the post-punk scene with bands like The Cure,
Yeah.
with Bauhaus, Joy Division, The Smiths, Morrissey? Like, where do we put them? Because that was a whole nother genre, the new wave sound
Yeah.
that there was a whole big thing in the 80s and 90s. So there's another, like, you don't put Morrissey on the Rushmore because he's just going to cancel, and then you got an open slot again.
Yeah, I mean, hell, dude, even like I think one guy mentioned REM. I'm like, wow,
Oh, see, they would be up there, like alternative music, like
yeah,
college rock. I think is what they called it in like the mid '80s, leading into the
yeah,
'90s. College rock.
yeah.
Um, shit, that's another one I didn't even think of. Yeah, REM.
REM's another one. And you know, I'm gonna Sid asked a question, and I love it because
Huh?
I actually have Linkin Park knocking on the door of my Mount Rushmore. I am 100% diehard Linkin Park fan. I love Linkin Park. It, you know, from the moment of Hybrid Theory coming out, everything. I love Linkin Park, but I didn't have enough in me, and I took the fanboy out to say they're not on the Mount Rushmore, but they're knocking on the door. They could make a good case for that, and I love that. He wants your opinion on the new Linkin Park album, if you've heard it. I'm not sure if you've heard it.
I've heard a couple of the tracks, but my opinion on that is they shouldn't be called Linkin Park.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Shinoda is literally the only one original in the band.
Yeah,
All the other rest of the band quit, and it's all new musicians. Not a knock on what they're doing. The song sounded great, but don't call it Linkin Park. Don't,
yeah,
you know. I think if you were to have, going back to what you said about like eras, and you know the new metal era, you know, I would say Linkin Park would be up there with
yeah.
with any of the bands from the late '90s and 2000s.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like for me, I've got to have them knocking on the door. It's got to be there. I don't know if I could take anybody off, but they're definitely one that I've got knocking on the door here. It says Rise Against, Selson, Davin, Dance Gavin Dance, Bullet for My Valentine were my top bands in my freshman year. I listened to a lot of Bullet for My
Oh,
Valentine.
so that was emo, right? Isn't that what the kids
Yeah.
call it? Isn't that what the kids call it?
Yeah,
The
kids
emo?
are calling it emo. We're calling it My Chemical Romance is what it was during that time period there. He says he's only 29, so yeah, he's a young guy. He's a very young guy. We're naming bands that this guy didn't even know about, man. Sip, we gotta get you more updated on some of these bands, man. We gotta introduce him to a band, a minuscule band that people really don't know, but for maybe one song, and that is Green Jelly. I saw them in concert, and I have no idea what the hell I was watching. I just
And
went to go see Three Little Pigs.
weren't they originally called Green Jello and they got sued?
They
And
were
that's why they
called,
changed their name.
original name was Green Jello. And if I'm not mistaken, if you were one of the lucky fans to buy their first CD, it says Green Jello, but then they had to pull them and they had to redo them because they became Green Jelly. And the only reason why I caught them, and I think I caught them at the White Rabbit at the time, was for that one damn song, Three Little Pigs. That was it. Then they had Shitman that came out that was like, oh wow, this is cool. But I don't know what kind of rock or what kind of music. Is that more like hillbilly rock? Because that was always a tough one for me. When people say, what kind of music is it? I don't know, man. It's like nursery hillbilly shit. I don't know.
If you're gonna say like hillbilly rock, it's Jackal.
Yeah.
With the chainsaw and all that, like that stuff, whatever, if you like that. But yeah, Green Jello is, you can't even really say what kind of genre they are. It's just they're kind of all over the place.
It's exactly. It's really all over the place. Another brand that they were bringing up was Primus. I'm like, Primus, man.
Primus is, you can't. Hey, anybody listening that's a drummer, they're taking auditions from regular people to be the new drummer. So,
well, my buddy from Above the Enemy, I should contact him when he was there. He's a drummer. I might shoot him a text message, see if he can become the new drummer from Primus. How do you feel about Avenged Sevenfold?
They're douchebags.
That's That pretty much sums it up
And
right there for you, Sid. That's pretty much what sums it up.
and my opinion is based on a post-concert meet and greet in the VIP room at All Stars.
Damn.
That they didn't want to be there, and they were just obnoxious assholes.
Damn, at All Stars? I would have never guessed it would have been at All Stars. Holy cow.
It has to do with salespeople and, you know, work in advertising stuff. Hey, you advertise this, we'll make you the after party place. And it was one of those that, you know, on the sales floor, the sales people that struck that deal.
All right, I got you. Well, they are douchebags, and according to Chuck, I've never met Avenged Sevenfold, so you got to take it from him right there, Sid. He has another thing, man. He loves this topic. He says Pearl Jam or Alice in Chains. For me, if it's of the two, I listen to a lot more Alice in Chains.
Oh yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, Pearl Jam. Honestly, I think it was more annoying music, Pearl Jam, for me. It was kind of like when you heard Come On, you were okay the first time, then you hear it again, you're like, I don't really want to hear this shit. So I changed it a lot of times back then. I might get blasted for this.
Alice in Chains was like, you know, the cool, like, stoner rock people, like, listen to Alice in Chains. The fucking bro jock football guys listen to Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
That's the way I've always kind of thought of it.
That is true. Graduating Central Catholic. Shout out to the Buttons out there. Yeah, I would think about thinking about it. Jocks were Pearl Jam, and everybody else, grungy, was kind of like I said, the Nirvana, Alice in Chains. You know, there's no doubt about that, man. Talking to Chuck Vans, we named a lot of local bands. Part of Sean Hernandez's wrestling. That's gonna have a show tomorrow. So we're going to try to give tickets away to the next show. I'm going to try to get in contact with them so we can get some of our listeners some tickets to check out some local professional wrestling. Try to get our top 4 in. Chuck named his top 4. You want to know it? I'm not going to let him repeat it. You need to go back and watch this show. Put it on blast so you can get the top 4. And we got all y'all's comments in here as well. Appreciate Sith and Leha being in here, man. Man, Chuck, this is probably going to have to be some kind of topic that we got to hit up from time to time because it seems to have gotten a lot of crazy responses there on this. He's saying Converse or Vans to a show. Well, I mean, it's in the name, I'm sure, right?
Well, it depends on what kind of Vans you're talking about. Back in the day, it used to be the regular classic Vans. Now it's like they're nice MTE ones that have the really soft padded cushioning. Those are, at 48 years old, those are the ones I wear. The ones with the really big cushion, like hiking Vans that they have. Those are the comfy ones.
Man, I think I owned like 20 pair of Vans, and now I own like 2. I think I give them all away. There's some comfort feeling that I get in some that I don't in others, and I don't know why. Honestly, Van slip-ons, fuck no. I don't own a pair. I tried on one pair. I look stupid in them. I look ridiculous. I'm like, no, I'm not even going to do this. I need laces. For sure. So I tried the high top ones and I can't get into that. So it's obviously, you know, the classics. And I've owned anything from Sesame Street ones to Crayola ones. I think I still have those. I liked all the different kind of stuff there. But yeah, man, I don't know, dude. Vans, me and Vans just don't go together all of the time. So.
And you know what? I thought when I saw your post with the AC/DC Converse, I thought we were going to talk about, like, obviously rock music, but I thought you were going to be talking about rock shoes.
Bring them up.
I brought these out of the closet. I don't know. Let's see how I can.
Damn.
These are limited iced tea Vans.
Oh, golly.
And the best part is the keychain that's like his necklace from the 80s.
Oh, man.
And instead of a shoe bag, because you know how they have like the dust bags for sneakers?
Yeah.
This one came in a plastic body bag. Let's see if I can. There. Yeah, it's a plastic body bag. That
man.
Came in. Yeah. So,
holy cow, man.
Vans used to do so many great, like, music collab shoes, and then they just went away from it. And that's what pissed me off, and I sold all mine except for these pair.
Wow, man. And you're right, because there was a lot of good collabs from back in the day, and it's something that they should do. I mean, people love wearing Vans, and what better way to collab, man? I mean, Vans are not very expensive, to be honest with you. And it's a good thing to get promotion and all that stuff. So, yeah, come on, Vans. Get it together, man. You got to get it together here. He's wondering about wrestling. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and when they do get it together, just send me free pairs. That's size 13.
Yeah, it's in the name. It's in the name. Chuck Vans. You got to send them. He's saying the ortho Vans. I rock those half cabs so I don't roll an ankle. Okay, I've never heard of ortho Vans.
I have a pair of half cabs. I have a pair of half cabs in there I wear all the time. They're yellow suede. Bruce Lee edition half cabs.
I've seen the Bruce Lee. I've seen those. I need those as well. I had a pair of Metallica and Justice for All Converse too. I've never seen.
Yeah, they did a. I think they did like a Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and a Justice for All shoes, if I remember correctly.
I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I need to take a look at that. He has the little ones too, non-Bruce Lee edition though. For I'm assuming the Vans. And before we go, man, he wants to bring up wrestling. He missed the wrestling part. Give him a shout out again for Hernandez's wrestling. Give him a little bit of update on that. I know there's a show tomorrow, but we're also going to give away tickets to the next one. But hit him up with that information again for that wrestling show.
It is San Antonio style wrestling. Obviously, they also have a wrestling school where they're always taking new students. They train on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays. Obviously, on show nights on Thursdays, they do the show. They don't really train. But the show is going to be tomorrow, 10929 Nacogdoches Road, number 7, right by Nacogdoches and Wurzbach Parkway. Supermax Hernandez, Joey Spector, Alberto Del Frito will all be in the house, as well as a lot of the San Antonio-style wrestling students, and also people from AWR Wrestling out of Austin and San Marcos that make the trip down to be a part of the show. SA Style Wrestling is where you can find them on the social medias. I'm not sure. I don't think they have a website, but yeah, if you follow me, I always repost all their stuff. Follow LAX Hernandez on his socials. He's always reposting all the great stuff. But it's the next star. How did I word it? The stars of tomorrow you're going to see today.
Exactly. Stars of tomorrow you see today. That is wrestling tomorrow, guys. And Sid says he's going to tell all the San Antonio peeps, and he's going to give them a follow. Appreciate that, Sith, man. Appreciate it 100%. We were talking to Chuck Vans, San Antonio local legend, man. I appreciate you joining us on our first Sweep Unplugged live edition. This won't be the last time. Got to get you on again, and we definitely got to get you on one of our chill nights on Sweep the League TV because I know you have a lot of Spurs opinions. That's for damn sure.
Oh, don't worry. They won't be about the stadium, the new stadium. Just saying.
What the crazy part on that is, I found out that the old courthouse is going to be a music venue. I'm trying to figure all that part out. Don't know how. Yeah, we're both looking at it like, okay, we don't know what's going to happen at that place, but we're going to find out soon that San Antonio is going to be voting for a new district, an entertainment district downtown, anywhere from the Spurs, updating the Alamo Dome, which I don't know what you can possibly update there. Parking's supposed to be good. Courthouse supposed to be revamped. It's just going to be a whole new thing for San Antonio. But, man, I do appreciate you joining me tonight, Chuck. Hate to let you go, man, but we got to end the show. We're going to end it like this here. Be sure to check out Chuck Vans, your podcast. Give everybody the details on that, man, because everybody's got to check out all the good local music you're playing.
Okay, my show, the new shows air Sundays at 9 p.m. Central. KPSAradio.com is where you can listen to it. I do put up all the replays after a few days on my Mixcloud account, but the best way to find how to get to that Mixcloud account, on my Twitter, on my Instagram, at Chuck Vans Show. Follow me. You'll get all the updates. Instagram, I actually every Tuesday and then Friday and Saturday and even some Sunday whenever there's shows, I post a lot of the flyers for all the upcoming live music and events that are going on here in the city.
There you go. It is Chuck Vans. Again, thanks him for joining us tonight on Sweep Unplugged. Sweep the League TV about to get started here in just a few minutes. Gonna be myself, hopefully Derek, hopefully Gio will be joining us tonight, talking pro football talks, rankings that come out, and whatever the house comes out. You know, we'll talk about that on Sweep the League, brought to you by MCS General Contracting. Chuck, again, appreciate you joining me here tonight, man.
Rudy.
It's been a blessing. It's been awesome, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. We'll see you guys in a little bit, but
Yes, sir.
Exclusive interviews with Rudy and the crew. Let's go.